The main part of the metaphor I didn't create. Learning is like climbing a mountain is talked about sometimes. It's a pretty obvious way to talk about learning. You're sort of working hard to get towards a goal. And climbing a mountain is hard. Learning is hard. It involves challenge, it involves struggle, and that's normal and natural and good. But there's a difference between what learning is and what learning looks like in school. And in school, sometimes, through no one's individual teacher's fault, we make learning harder than it has to be. Kids are already sort of scaling this mountain, which is hard work, to try to learn, let's say, math. But then in school, we say, oh yeah, in addition to math being hard, I'm also going to expect you to sit down still for 45 minutes. And I think of that expectation as being a boulder that we throw right in kids' paths as they're already struggling to make their way up the mountain. And there's a lot of these boulders. There are boulders like, listen to me talk. I'm gonna use a lot of verbal language and you're supposed to hear it, process it, understand it, remember it for a really long period of time. Another one is, I'm going to ask you to work in groups, and I'm not gonna tell you how that works. I'm just gonna say work in a group, and you're expected to figure out what that means and how to do that productively. And some kids are able to do those things. Some kids, I like to say, have a tool in their backpack as they're climbing the mountain that's a good match for those boulders. They have a pickaxe, let's say, and so they can get to that sit still boulder and they can climb over it. It's easy for them. And that's true for many kids. But all that means is that those particular kids have a set of skills and strengths that happens to be a match for those particular barriers or boulders that we create in school. And other kids have other tools. Some kids have screwdrivers, some kids have toothbrushes, some kids have snorkels. And a snorkel is a cool tool, very helpful for navigating the underwater world, but it's not as helpful when you're climbing a mountain to get over a boulder. And what happens is our snorkel kids who don't have strengths that are a match for what we expect in school, we blame them, or we exclude them, or they are just sort of left to struggle and figure things out. Or in some cases, we really do try to support them, but we support them in a way that still focuses on them as being the source of the problem instead of the boulders being the source of the problem. And so I see the work of certainly inclusive education, but really all education, as being about examining the boulders, seeing what we can do about those boulders. It doesn't mean making things easy. It doesn't mean clearing the path so kids never struggle, but it does mean thinking, are these boulders really necessary? In order to learn math, does that kid have to sit still for 45 minutes? Or can we take a brain break at the 20-minute mark and move around a little bit and give kids an opportunity to move? And so the starting point for the work is sort of examining and seeing what we can do about breaking up the boulders, moving around the boulders, minimizing the boulders, so that all kinds of kids, pickaxe kids, snorkel kids, and everyone else can make their way up the mountain and ultimately learn what we want them to learn. And I think playful approaches are such a beautiful way and have a tremendous opportunity to make all kinds of kids, neurodivergent kids and kids with other disabilities, and really all kids, to feel connected, to feel like they have a place in their classroom. When people feel a sense of belonging, it's because they've been invited into a space, it's been communicated, you're welcome here, we want you here, because they feel seen, they're recognized for who they are, and their strengths are also allowed to shine. And play, I think, has tremendous opportunity for creative, outside of the box thinkers who kind of approach the world and respond to the world maybe in different ways than the kids sitting next to them, to be able to contribute ideas, to be able to offer creativity, to be able to connect with their peers in really novel and interesting ways. And that both helps them, make them feel like they're connected to their classmates, but it also helps their classmates recognize their strengths. It's a new way for them to sort of see this classmate of theirs that maybe it is the kid who's been fidgeting with something or struggling with math class. And now, wow, this kid is actually the most out-of-the-box, creative, innovative, classmate we have in this whole classroom. So it's a great benefit for disabled and neurodivergent students, but really, it benefits everybody.